All right, let's get right into it. If your dashboard is lit up and that code scanner says P0327, take a deep breath. You're in the right place. We're going to break down exactly what that code means, what's causing it, and most importantly, how you can actually fix it.
So there it is, that glowing check engine light that nobody wants to see. And the code is P0327. You know, this is a really common one, and it points to a very specific part of your engine's own little protection system. So let's figure this out together.
Okay, let's translate this from car speak into plain English. Knock sensor 1 just tells you which sensor's acting up, but the really important part is circuit low input. All that means is your car's brain, the main computer, is getting a voltage signal from that sensor that's way too low. It's like it's trying to listen in on a phone call, but the line is super staticky or just completely dead.
So what in the world is a knock sensor anyway? Before we get into fixing it, it really helps to understand what this little guy's job is. Honestly, the best way to think of it is as a tiny dedicated bodyguard for your engine.
It's basically a highly sensitive microphone that's bolted right onto your engine, and its only job, its entire purpose in life, is to listen for a very specific type of vibration, that unhealthy sound we call engine knock or pinging. It's a sound that can cause some serious damage if it's left unchecked.
And here's where the magic happens. It's this constant, super fast protective loop. So the engine makes a knock. Instantly, the sensor picks up that vibration and zaps a signal to the computer. The computer then immediately adjusts the engine's timing. And just like that, the knocking stops and your engine is safe. This whole thing happens in milliseconds, over and over again. And this is why it's so crucial. The knock sensor isn't just some dumb warning light. No, it's an active part of making your engine perform at its best. By constantly listening and allowing the computer to make those tiny adjustments, it lets the engine run at peak efficiency without hurting itself. It's a huge deal for performance and for making your engine last. Okay, so now we know what it does. Let's start playing detective. What are the symptoms you might actually feel when you're driving, and who are the usual suspects behind this P0327 code?
Well, obviously, the biggest clue is the check engine light itself. But because the computer can't trust the sensor signal, it often plays it safe and pulls back the engine's power to prevent damage. That's why you might feel like the car is sluggish or that you're filling up the tank more often. You might even hear some pinging. But look at that last little slice. Sometimes you won't notice a single thing other than the light.
So what's really going on? Well, 9 times out of 10, it's an electrical problem. The sensor itself could have just failed, or the wiring could be damaged and touching the metal engine block, which was what we call a short to ground. Sometimes it's as simple as a dirty, corroded connector. And here's the good news. See that last one? The main computer failing is extremely rare, so don't even worry about that for now. Now, before you even think about grabbing a wrench, you have got to figure out where this thing is. And trust me, this is a big deal. The location of the sensor can be the difference between a 15-minute fix and a whole weekend project. For example, on this Honda Odyssey, look at that. It's right on the front, easy to get to. But on this Chevy Silverado, it's buried deep underneath the entire intake manifold. You've got to get a repair diagram for your specific vehicle first. It's a must.
All right, you found it. Now let's come up with a smart plan of attack. We want to diagnose this thing correctly so you don't end up just throwing parts at the problem and wasting money.
Okay, listen up, because this is probably the single most important tip I can give you. A bad wire will give you the exact same code and symptoms as a bad sensor. I can't tell you how many people buy a new sensor they don't need when the real problem was just a simple wiring issue. So please, always check the wiring first. So here's your roadmap. It's simple. First, just use your eyes. Do a really good visual inspection of the wires and the connector. Look for anything that's cracked, melted, or corroded. If that all looks good, you could try something called a tap test. You just gently tap on the engine block near the sensor while the engine's running. If the circuit's good, you'll see a reaction on a scan tool. For a more definite answer, you'll want to use a multimeter to check the sensor's specs. If all of those tests point to a bad sensor, well, then you know what you have to do. So, you found the bad guy, you replaced the part, and you're feeling pretty good. Awesome. But hang on, you're not quite at the finish line yet. Doing these last few steps right is the key to making sure that light stays off for good. Now here is a pro tip that so many people miss. Remember, this sensor is a vibration detector, right? If you leave it too loose, it won't pick up the vibrations properly. If you make it way too tight, it can get damaged or be overly sensitive. You have to tighten it to the exact spec from the manufacturer. It's not a nice to do, it's absolutely essential for it to work. So here's your final checklist. It's easy. Number 1,
Install that new sensor and use a torque wrench to tighten it perfectly. Number 2, grab your scanner and clear the P0327 code out of the car's memory. And number 3, take it for a spin. Make sure it's driving well, and most importantly, that the check engine light stays off.
So let's just put it all into perspective. The chances that your problem is either the wiring, the connector, or the sensor itself are really, really high. But the odds that you have a bad engine computer? Incredibly low. So take a breath. The odds are definitely in your favor that this is a totally manageable fix.
And that's it. You did it. By following these steps, you didn't just turn off a pesky light. You actually diagnosed and fixed a critical system. You've restored your engine's #1 protector against damage. You took control and solved the problem yourself.
You know, fixing problems when they pop up is one thing, but what about preventing them? You've just saved your engine from the immediate danger of knocking, but what about that slow, silent killer that gets to every engine over time? Now that's something to think about, isn't it?